right, everybody, welcome back. Ready to dive into another topic today.
Absolutely.
This week, we are tackling something that I know can be a little intimidating, especially if you're new to the whole adulting game, taxes.
Yeah, it's that time of year again, or, well, it will be soon.
It's coming up. And we figured, why not get a head start on things and demystify the process a bit?
Right. There's no need to let it be as scary as some people make it out to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you're about to navigate the wild world of taxes for the first time, think of this as your crash course, your cheat sheet, your guide to not pulling your hair out come tax season.
Your one-stop shop.
Exactly. And to make sure we're giving you the best advice, we've dug into resources from NerdWallet, Experian, and AARP, so triple-checked and everything.
You know, hitting it from all angles.
Exactly. But before we get into the nitty-gritty, let's address the elephant in the room, or rather, the question mark hovering over your tax forms. Do you even need to file taxes this year?
Yeah, that's the first question, right? Like, how do you even know if you need to go through all this?
Right. Because let's be real, filing taxes, not exactly how I want to spend my free time.
Not exactly a party now.
So tell us, when does Uncle Sam come knocking? What are those magical income limits?
Right. So the IRS, they've got these things called income thresholds, basically like a line in the sand. If you make under a certain amount, you're usually good to go, no need to file. But, and here's the catch, that amount, it changes. It depends on a few things.
Oh, like what?
Well, your age, for one.
Okay, that makes sense.
Whether you're filing as single, married, head of household, all that jazz.
Filing statuses, those sound fun.
Yeah, we'll get to those later, don't worry.
Okay, good to know. And then how much you made, but also where that money came from. Like, was it from a regular job with a W-2, or were you freelancing and got a 1099? All those details come into play. See, this is what I love, though. The IRS, they might have a bit of a rep for being, the tax people, but they do actually have some pretty helpful tools on their website.
They do, it's true.
There's this interactive thingy. You basically answer a few questions about your income, and bam, it tells you right then and there if you need to file or not. Super handy.
Yeah, that's a lifesaver.
It is. But for the sake of this deep dive, let's assume that you, my friend, you're filing.
You're in.
You're in. So you've accepted your tax-paying fate. Now what? What's the next step in this thrilling adventure?
Okay, so now it's time to put on your, I don't know, detective hat. Because it's document gathering time.
Ooh, it's like a scavenger hunt.
Exactly. First up, you've got your W-2s. Now, these are the forms you get from your employer, if you have one, and they basically tell you everything you need to know about how much you earned and how much tax you've already paid throughout the year through those lovely withholdings from your paycheck.
And this is important, right? Because, you don't want to accidentally end up paying more than you need to.
Absolutely. That's why these documents are crucial.
Gotcha. Now, what about our freelance friends out there? Those who are their own bosses, what do they need to wrangle up?
So, freelancers, you're going to be looking for 1099s. Now, these come from each client who paid you $600 or more over the year.
$600. That's it.
That's the magic number, according to NerdWallet.
Interesting. So even if you just did one little project, you might still be getting a 1099.
Exactly. And it's important to keep track of all of them, trust me.
Makes sense. Now, I'm guessing it's not just W-2s and 1099s, right?
Nope, there's more. Don't forget those bank statements. Remember, any interest you earned on your savings account, that's income too. The IRS, they don't miss a thing.
Oh, man. Every penny counts, huh?
Every single one. And students, don't think you're off the hook either. Keep those 1098-T forms handy. Those are your ticket to potential education credits, which can be a huge help.
Okay, so we've got all our documents, our W-2s, our 1099s, bank statements, the 1098-Ts for the students out there.
We're organized.
We are so organized. It's beautiful. Okay, so next up, we have to tackle something called filing status. Now, I'll be honest, this one always sounded a bit intimidating to me.
Why is that?
Like official government jargon.
It does sound a bit like that, doesn't it? But really, it's not as complicated as it sounds. Promise.
Okay, good. Because I need that reassurance.
Think of it like this. Your filing status is basically telling the IRS about your life situation so they can figure out which tax rules apply to you.
Okay, that makes sense.
So you've got your most common one, single. Pretty self-explanatory. You're single, not married, no dependents. Then there's married filing jointly, which is, well, you and your spouse filing together.
Makes sense.
And you've got married filing separately, which, sometimes couples choose to do this for various reasons.
Right, like if they want to keep their finances separate.
Exactly. And then there's head of household. Now, this one's a bit specific. It's usually for single parents or someone who provides a home for a qualifying dependent.
Oh, so A grandparent raising their grandchild, something like that?
Exactly. That's a great example. And choosing the right status is super important because, like, it directly impacts how much tax you'll pay.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. For example, Experian gave this really good point. Let's say you've got a single parent who's supporting their kid. If they file as single, they might miss out on certain deductions and credits that they'd be eligible for if they filed as head of household.
Oh, wow. So it could actually make a big difference in the refund.
Exactly. Like we're talking potentially hundreds, even thousands of dollars in some cases.
Oh, okay. See, this is why we do this deep dive, because this is not something you want to mess up.
Absolutely not. It's worth taking the time to figure out.
So we've gathered our documents, we've navigated the land of filing statuses. What's next? Do we actually, like, confront the tax forms now?
Well, we can. Or we can make our lives a little easier.
I'm always up for easier. Tell me more.
So there's this magical thing called tax software.
Oh, yeah, like TurboTax, H&R Block, those guys.
Exactly. Those are the ones. And honestly, lifesavers, especially if you're a first-time filer.
I can imagine. Way less intimidating than trying to decipher those IRS instruction booklets.
Oh, absolutely.
Well-
Those things there's something else.
Right. It's like they're written in a whole other language.
Exactly. But these tax software programs, they walk you through every single step, ask you simple questions, and then do all the calculations for you.
It's like having a personal tax assistant.
Exactly. And the best part, a lot of them are actually free to use if your tax situation is pretty straightforward.
Okay, see, now that's what I'm talking about. Free is my favorite price.
Right. Free is always good.
Okay, so we've got our software ready to go. Now, before we hit that file button, we need to talk about deductions and credits.
Ah, yes. The fun part.
The part where we potentially save some money. Right.
Exactly. Think of these as like secret discounts that the tax system offers.
Ooh, I like discounts.
Right. So deductions, these are basically like getting a discount on the price tag before you even check out. They reduce your taxable income, which means you end up owing less in taxes overall.
Okay, that makes sense.
AARP had this great analogy. They said it's like strategically packing your suitcase to avoid those pesky baggage fees at the airport.
Oh, I feel that.
Right. You want to fit everything you can into that deductible space so you don't have to pay extra.
I'm following. So deductions are like fitting everything into your carry-on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, credits, on the other hand, those are like getting money back after you've already paid.
Even better.
Right. So they directly reduce your tax bill dollar for dollar.
Ooh, that's awesome. Okay, so what are some common deductions and credits that, like, every beginner should know about?
So one of the big ones, especially for first-time filers, is the standard deduction.
Okay, and remind me again, what's a deduction?
A deduction lowers your taxable income. It's like a discount on what you owe.
Okay, perfect. So the standard deduction, what is that?
So it's basically a fixed amount that you can subtract from your income, and you don't need receipts or anything to qualify for it.
Oh, nice. So easy.
Super easy. And then for those with low to moderate incomes, there's the Earned Income Tax Credit, or EITC for short. NerdWallet actually pointed out that millions of people qualify for this but don't even realize it.
Oh, no. They're leaving money on the table.
Exactly. So it's definitely worth looking into. And then for the students, remember those 1098 datees we talked about?
Yeah, the ones they probably shoved in a drawer and forgot about.
Probably. But seriously, those are important because they can help you claim education credits, which can offset the cost of tuition, books, all of that fun stuff.
Awesome. So we are taking every single deduction and credit we can get.
Absolutely. Every little bit helps.
Okay, so we're in the home stretch now. We've got our documents, our filing status figured out. Deductions and credits are checked off the list.
We're ready.
We are ready to actually file. So
Ah.
what's the best way to do it? Carrier pigeon. Smoke signals.
You laugh, but I'm sure some people would try it if they could. But seriously, the best way to file is online.
E-filing.
E-filing. It's faster, more secure, and you usually get your refund way quicker.
Speaking of refunds, how do we know if we're getting money back or if we owe money? Because, I'd rather be pleasantly surprised than, unpleasantly surprised.
Right. Well, that's where that handy-dandy tax software comes in again. It'll do all those calculations for you so you'll know exactly where you stand.
Technology is amazing.
It really is. And if you are getting a refund, make sure you set up direct deposit. That way, the money goes straight into your bank account. No waiting for a check in the mail.
Oh, yeah. Direct deposit is like the best invention ever.
Right. It's so much faster. But whether you're getting a refund or owe money, remember that deadline is coming April 15th.
Tax day. Mark it on your calendars, folks.
Absolutely. And if you're feeling a little overwhelmed, don't stress. The IRS website has a ton of resources, and you can always reach out to a tax professional if you need help. There's no shame in asking for guidance.
Exactly. Taxes might seem scary, but with a little preparation and the right information, you've got this.
You do. You've totally got this.
Before we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with a thought.
Okay.
We often talk about taxes as like this burden, this thing we have to do. But what if we shifted our perspective a bit? What if we thought of taxes as an investment? An investment in our communities, in our roads, our schools, our public services.
That's a great way to look at it.
Right. Because ultimately, taxes help fund the things that make our society function.
Absolutely.
So next time you're feeling that tax season dread creeping in, remember, it's not just about filling out forms. It's about contributing to something bigger than ourselves.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And on that note, folks, that wraps up our deep dive into the world of taxes. We hope you feel empowered, informed, and maybe even a little bit excited to tackle your taxes this year.
We had fun talking about this. Hopefully you had fun listening.
And remember, if you have any questions, need clarification on anything, the IRS website is a great resource.
And don't forget, we're always here to help guide you through it.
Until next time, happy filing.
Happy filing.